Oh, please do.
Right on the. Okay.
Yes. All right, welcome to the August 21st, 2023 regular meeting of the Lyman Board of Selectmen. This meeting is a public proceeding and is being recorded. Would you all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Tom. Moving the white board.
No problem. Nothing to do it.
All right. There's nothing under item 1 for special offers, so we're going to slide right to item 2, hearing public input. Anybody in the crowd got 5 minutes to?
Good evening, Joe Wagner, 26 Day Road. In the course of looking for a possible funding source for a municipal project, I came across something called the Maine Municipal Bond Bank. I was wondering if you're familiar with that. mmbb.com is the website. At the close of my remarks,
Joe, we say that again?
the Maine Municipal Bond Bank,
Okay,
Mike, Bravo.com.
thanks.
I've got a handout that I'll give to you each at the end of my remarks. But essentially it does, the state agencies bundle municipal loans. They go out twice in the fall and in the spring, obtaining money and then lending it out to municipalities. With the planned expansion of the town hall, this may be an avenue of obtaining financing. It might be a better deal than going through a commercial institution. I also mentioned the MMBB to Matt DeRose, because firefighting apparatus and emergency response vehicles can also be obtained I know we put $50,000 away each year for that fund, but in the event that one of the vehicles needed earlier replacement, this might be an avenue to pursue. Now, I understand the current interest rate is 4 to 5%, but we all know that is subject to change. I believe the next deadline for loan application is next February. I know, Rusty, you were mentioning the architectural work being done on town expansion. It might be possible that by that time, you might have some good ballpark figure as to how much might be needed to do the expansion. So again, MMBB. And disclosure, I have no financial connection whatsoever with that organization. On this evening's agenda, it's item 7B, is the status of the citizens' petition for a special town meeting. It has been confirmed that the requisite number of signatures have been obtained. The town manager has provided a timeline for holding the special town meeting. As mentioned in the town manager's transmission letter, in accordance to section 6.2 of the town charter, when a petition comprising an initiative or referenda has been certified as sufficient, the board shall call for a public hearing. Now, the timeline also alludes to section 222 of the charter, which states, for initiated referenda, the municipal officers will determine the wording and order of the articles. There's only one. I ask that the board exert caution about any rewording of the question. I think it should remain to see if the town will vote to appropriate from surplus the sum of $134,746 for the salaries and benefits of the separate and distinct administrative positions of town clerk and select board clerk, because that is what people who signed the petition agreed to. According to this section of the charter, the amounts appropriated for the current fiscal year, which would be zero for these positions, and the amounts recommended by the Budget Committee and the Select Board, which are to be determined, should be included in the warrant. I ask when the special town meeting is set that the Lyman Elementary be the venue for that meeting. Now, regarding the recruitment and appointment of volunteers policy, I again asked that the previous Select Board meeting that a sunset date be set for this interim policy, so it could be assessed and modified. Now, I further suggest that in the future, if a member or members of the Select Board have concerns about a pending volunteer appointment, that appointment be tabled until such time the Select Board can meet in executive session with the opportunity for that individual to be present as state law requires. At the previous Select Board meeting, an individual was appointed to a committee whose misconduct I personally witnessed some years ago right here in this very room, I think should preclude any participation in the governance of our town as a municipal official. To me, that is clear evidence that the interim recruitment and appointment policy for volunteers is in need of revision. Thank you. And here's the
Thank you.
The Maine Municipal Bond Bank. And a copy of my comments tonight as well.
Thank you.
There you go.
Anybody else wants to address the board? All right, moving on to mail. Planning board has sent a letter in saying the planning board at its July 19th, 2023 meeting elected Roderick Tatu as chair, Joseph Wagner as vice chair, and Cecile Dupriez as secretary for fiscal year 2023, 2024. I hope I didn't slaughter anybody's name. I got Joe's down. Next is some mail from Goodwin Mills Village Cemetery, and I think it's worth reading. So, Tom's gonna.
Can we read it?
Yeah, please.
This is some really good news here that's been in in question for a long time. So this is from the Goodwin's Mills Village Cemetery. Hope this letter finds all of you well. Over the past year, the Goodwin's Mills Cemetery Association reorganized its structure while keeping the remaining living trustees, Bill Harris, Ruth Smith, involved in the new operations. The current board of officers are as follows. Excuse me, Rod Carpenter is president, Ann Paquette, VP, Sue Briggs, treasurer, Nancy Herman, secretary. Additionally, Amos Gay resigned as the sexton of the cemetery, and Paquette and Leo Thibodeau have assumed this role. We have filed legal paperwork to update our tax exempt status and legal name. Our rules and regulations have been updated and awaiting trustee approval. We have updated all of our fees to meet today's standards, yet keeping it affordable for residents of Lyman and Dayton. Excuse me. We have repaired the 1841 tomb, removed trees, and straightened roads to upgrade the appearance of the cemetery. We are challenging ourselves to make the cemetery self-sufficient without being a burden to the town of Lyman. We have pumped new energy and ideas into the organization and are prioritizing projects as volunteers and finances allow. There has been discussion within the Cemetery Association about possibility of obtaining the piece of property formerly occupied by Rhodes Hall. If this is a possibility, it would fit very nicely with our property and allow us to beautify one of the major gateways to the community. It is our understanding that this is a non-conforming lot, making it a difficult sale. We would be interested in obtaining this property to add to our existing lot. With a vote from our trustees, I feel confident we could absorb any legal fees for such a transfer. We have many town fathers as well as past selectmen, firefighters, Masonic/Grange members from both Dayton and Lyman buried in our cemetery, in addition to a great number of other lots owned by locals. For your review, I've attached some of the history on this vacant lot, including a list of previous owners. We appreciate your consideration of this matter. Please reach out if we can provide further information and/or address concerns. Kindest regards, Rod Carpenter, Cemetery Association. And there's a whole bunch of old documentation here to follow up. That's just great stuff there that they've reorganized and they're going to do.
Sure is.
That's awesome.
It was such a thorn in the side for so long.
Yep.
Glad that's done. There's some people that really took hold of that and ran with it.
Yep.
And that's awesome. Okay, let's move on to item 3. Minutes, review and approve meeting minutes for 8/7/2023.
I'll make a motion, we accept the minutes.
I'll second that motion.
I'll abstain, I wasn't here. All
Can
in-
I just ask a
Cool.
question
Yep,
before the
discussion.
last page, where it says Jessica Pickard, M options to pay tax collector?
Oh, I think it's just a typo. It's just, it's
I want
supposed
to
to
say
say
it was supposed to be
motions.
motions.
Okay,
Yep,
all right.
yep.
Oh, yeah.
You saw that. We call it the library.
It's my superpower.
The library. All right, so no more discussion. All in favor? Aye. 3, 4.
Nice detail in the minutes. Thank you.
All right, item number 4, payroll warrant number 6 in the amount of $24,353.49.
Make a motion to accept payroll warrant number 6 in the amount of $24,353.49.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Okay, accounts payable warrant number 59 for year end 2023 in the amount of $120,683.20. Putting date and stamp that.
Mhm. I make a motion that we approve accounts payable warrant number 59 in the amount of $120,683.20.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Nice. All right, accounts payable warrant number 7, that sounds fun, for year end 2024 in the amount of $78,603.74.
I make a motion, we pay warrant number 7 for $78,603.74.
I'll second that. Can I? Any discussion?
I was just trying to look up in where the card member service for the amount of almost $2,000. What that was, and I can't seem to put my eyes on it. There it is. Picnic tables. All right.
Do you have any questions on that?
No, I just wanted to see what it was, and I couldn't seem to locate it, and then magically it appeared to me.
Because I said it out loud.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. All right, next up, unfinished business, RFPs for ARPA-funded projects. Bunganut, Ball Field, Transfer, Kennebunk Pond.
Do you want me to go over the first page? All right. So we broke it down into a couple different categories because we had different versions of Kennebunk Pond Beach. You know, one that was ADA accessible, one that's not ADA accessible, and then it starts with Kennebunk Pond Beach, not ADA accessible, all the lowest bids. And if you go down through, this is what we would spend for Kennebunk Pond, transfer station, and the concession stand at Bunganut Park, which gives us a remaining ARPA funds of like $15,000. If you keep going over, we start seeing a deficit of those ARPA funds. So you would have to take that amount from somewhere else, probably capital improvement, I would think. There's only really other, like there's transfer station reserve, and then there's capital improvement funds, if you wanted to consider some of these other sections. And then if you go through, Kennebunk Pond Beach Association, Karen Kane gave us a nice breakdown of the revised scope. One's retaining ADA access, one is not retaining ADA access. And then I included the bids, the revised bids that came in for that. Same with transfer station, it's a bid tabulation form, and then the revised bids that came in, and then the ball field. So you can look at, you know, basically the numbers, what the bids came in for.
So can we agree, I want to make sure I'm reading this correctly, that the biggest difference when we say not retaining ADA access, we're talking about the ramp specifically.
Yeah, there's a ramp that goes along the beach.
Yeah.
Is what I understand it to be.
So not,
Yep.
that's what she had explained at the workshop. Is she?
Yeah.
Yep.
No.
According
Okay.
to the
I'm like,
plan.
is she behind that podium? Okay. I just wanted to make sure I'm understanding that right. So I don't think we're saying like there's no access. It's just,
Yeah, we'd
The
still
be-
have like
the-
a crosswalk. We have the
Right.
the flashing
Yep.
signs.
we're still legal as far as safety and all those
Yeah.
things. Okay. All right. This is good.
Does this include the gate? So you get landscape bid totals and then other is the automated gate system? The revised scope bids, the number one from Salmon Falls and GT Scapes.
Yeah,
Um,
I have it
yeah.
right here. It's the one you sent me. Oh, got it? Here.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, come sit with me, but
Yeah, would you- yeah, I was gonna- Oh, okay. Oh, she's gonna be a month that way.
yeah.
I think they're both, yeah,
So,
both of them included.
This is, she broke it down for us.
Yeah.
And my question is, so we have the landscape bid totals, and then other is the gate,
So these were their original bids. These are their revised bids.
okay?
So these are from the landscapers. Out, the gate is outside of the landscapers bid. That's
Okay.
what the bottom is. So this is basically what you're looking at for a total. These two,
But
And that's what
it
we
includes the gate.
it does include the gate.
I've been giving this a lot of thought since the workshop. And I probably am not gonna be overly popular when I'm gonna say what I think. I like the idea of putting something, especially a gate there. I went down there and just to get a spatial sense for myself, because it's been a long time since I'd been there. And I looked around and I know on a busy day when it was hot, how crowded it was and how many people were there. I don't really see that we have room to do the ADA. And we are also considering doing quite an extensive work in the future at Bunganut. And we can't change the size of the Kennebunk Pond Beach, the access, the parking, any of it. And it does need a gate. I don't really think it needs anything else at this time, because if we're gonna do it Bunganut, everything that we put, we have to take care of. We have to maintain. And if we're gonna put money into Bunganut instead, it's a lot of money. We're not, I'm not into free spending where we don't need to, and I really do feel like the transfer station is where the ARPA fund should go. That still seems like a priority. Everyone uses the transfer station. I mean, I really like the plan. I love the enthusiasm of the committee, the time. I'm not disrespecting any of that. I really appreciate that. I really do. And it's hard for me to sit here and say this, as it may be unpopular. That's how I feel.
I think to be clear, just so people understand that we are fully funding the transfer station of what they've asked. The only thing we've eliminated is some paving.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're not getting anything.
That's
They're not
true.
getting anything that they've asked for. They just, I think the only thing that was cut out was that paving down to the salt shed, which is small.
Can I ask a question about ADA?
Can you, yeah, just come on. Thank you.
Stand up.
You can do it, Priscilla.
I got old bones. Regarding ADA, you had indicated that you weren't real crazy about spending money for that purpose.
Nope, that's not
Don't
why.
we have to?
That's not why, though.
Hmm?
Why I'm not in favor of putting ADA ramps at the Kennybunk Pond Beach is that after looking at the plan and then going there and spatially standing there, you're gonna take a good chunk of the beach portion away to put that in. That's all, and I see how many people were there on a hot, busy day.
Don't you have to, if you're doing renovations, isn't there a law that indicates that you have to provide ADA access?
It's
I
for,
don't know, I'm asking.
it's primarily for,
I'm
like,
sorry?
it's primarily for like a building or structure.
I think if I remember right from going through all of our discussions, meetings that we had, we were okay with not doing the ramp.
Really?
Like,
It's only my personal.
okay, all right, so maybe I should retract that. It sounded like it, right? But I guess we need more,
Yeah.
someone to tell us that then.
I think that's what the
I
designer would have
don't think that
done.
the ramp is gonna take up much more space than the brush that's already there. That's what the architect had talked to us about, because I had that same concern. How much, I don't know, I can't tell you exactly how much it would be.
We've
It
just,
could also be that the water is high this year because of all the rain we've had. It's not
That's true.
receded some, but I looked at it and
It's been crowded this year.
it has been, and it was that day, very much.
did these best and final, we have them with the ADA. So if we got rid of the ADA, do we then have to go back and be like, oh, wait, we need your best and final with removing
No,
that?
This has, did you get this top one? Yeah, it has, this column is no ADA, this column is ADA.
And the way we did the RFP was by
Okay.
line item, so we would just cross out that.
Okay,
line
so
item
that
and
would
say-
be,
With that
okay.
language about the right to refuse. Yeah.
So, do we need
Which
to
one?
pull the trigger now?
It was with ADA.
This is what you sent me, these two things.
Oh, yeah,
Is that what you?
I mean, I'm in agreement for that.
Yeah.
Weathered boulders, $6,800 for weathered boulders. You can't even dig in Lyman without hitting boulders. I mean,
Rusty, they can come up.
Yep, yep.
Okay.
This is the latest bid.
Number 29, Wolf Island Alignment. I have a question in regards to this gate. Okay. I don't know what we're really trying to do other than keep it safe for people. But as I understand it, and part of what I've seen is that this gate is going to be a Taj Mahal, and we're going to be able to get past this, this other stuff and everything. My question is, it's electronic, okay? After we put this thing in, number one, who's going to maintain it? The townspeople are going to have to pay for this, to have it maintained. IT committee or whoever's going to do this, we got to hire somebody, have it done if something goes wrong with it. What if somebody hits it while they're going in? Who's going to pay for that? You know? So there's a lot of money going into just, $20,000 for a gate or electronics or whatever it is. The other thing is that I don't think in the bid that there is anything to do with far as wiring this, doing the electrician. The electrician and the digging, the excavation, I think is separate. And that's not in this bid, I don't believe.
It's included.
Is it included?
I understand what you're saying. There's always maintenance and you're gonna have damage and what have you. But the problem that we've had down there, what's kind of started this whole thing was the drug use, the alcohol abuse. And we had a gate down there and we asked one of our employees to be paying him to go down there and do it, and he was concerned for his safety.
I understand.
So
that.
that was the big reason for going that way. And, how else would we do that other than something like this?
I don't think you need to put some sort of electronic gate that you got all different cards and this sort of stuff for it. Make it simple. Do something simple with it, rather than have a gate that allow people to get in. I don't know what you're trying to do as far as collect money from people for picking a gate, or how do you get a card, or whatever the case may be. But
Yes.
these things, I'm not sure that everybody's aware of all this is going to happen.
Okay, well, Karen could definitely come up and explain it.
I can tell you what the intent is. It is safe. It is for safety because there's been a lot of, untoward stuff going on there. We don't- The lights have taken a lot, but we still have people launching boats after dark with no lights on there. I'm the first house from the beach, so I hear it all. There's still activity down there.
If
So-
I have a card, I can launch my boat anytime I want then.
No,
No.
you can't because the gate will automatically shut off. Let me explain a little bit about how this is going to work. And it's not a super fancy gate. It's a gate that will be automated. You will need a pass. Our goal is to have anybody from the town of Lyman not have to pay for that pass. They can get it when they get their transfer station sticker, get it from the town hall. We also, because Maine stocks the pond, fishermen should have access to the waters. So right now, we're still in discussion about this, but there's a chance that fishermen wouldn't have to pay if they show their fishing license. Anybody from outside of Lyman, there would be a fee to hopefully make the pond self-sustainable. So all of the maintenance that does go into maintaining the pond, we would get from selling the passes to non-Lyman residents, non-fishermen of Maine. The way the gate would work is that it would be unlocked from dawn to dusk, so that if you hit your pass, the arm goes up, you go in. When you exit, there's a plate on the ground, so you don't need a pass to get out. You can always get out once you're in. At dusk, or whatever time we determine, the gates would lock, and even if you have a pass, you would not be able to get in.
Can you get out?
You can
Yeah.
get out.
You can fish, ice fish, all the time. You can fish at midnight. So what are the ice fishermen gonna do then?
The rules of the pond have always been, it's open from dawn to dusk. We as a town can talk about if we want to open it earlier. I don't think it's a problem to open it at 3 in the morning or 4 in the morning or 5 in the morning when some of those ice fishermen go out there. I think the problem is, and what Dave Riley was experiencing was he couldn't get people out of the parking lot. It's the people who are drinking on the beach all day, or they're out paddleboarding and they're drinking on the paddle boards, and they end up back in the parking lot, and he was afraid to ask them to leave. So that's the element that we're trying to get out of there.
What's gonna prevent the people from parking on the street?
We are going to tow. We've been talking to the town manager about how we're going to handle towing, and the committee will actively be involved initially to make sure that we'll have phone numbers posted. And this is the plan. None of this has been presented to the board or approved yet, but our plan is to have numbers posted, have warning signs up there that cars will be towed. And if you were towed, call this number, and hopefully have some kind of contract with a towing company. And we would want signs along the lower end of Poor Farm Road saying, no parking, or your violators will be towed at their own expense.
So the passes would be included when you get your dump sticker, and out-of-towners would be able to purchase them? And where would this happen?
So
And how would that work?
it could either happen at the town hall or what we've been kicking around, and we haven't spoken to these businesses yet, but the idea is that hopefully the Homestead, Jackson's Corner, Harry's would be willing to sell those passes because it will bring people into their businesses.
I wonder, I guess you'd still have to find out, there's automatic gates, you see them at self-storage places all the time. They have keypads, you punch in the code, it opens and closes. It seems a little more simple than having a card. but I don't
I don't know.
still have to get a code.
We shared too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People would share that number.
Well, they can share their cards too. I
Well,
mean,
yeah.
we all know, I
A
mean,
little harder.
They can't
it's,
stop all the
exactly, I mean,
criminals.
I,
No.
yeah, people are gonna find a way to,
Oh,
if they want,
absolutely.
you know.
Yeah.
So I think that,
But I could
that,
call you up and give you the code
well, I mean,
as opposed to.
I'm
video.
sure that there's some Lyman residents who have been like, oh, here, let's just take my vehicle to Bunganut, or here, borrow my vehicle to go to Bunganut. And,
Yeah, you're not
you
gonna
know,
stop
so
it.
you're not gonna stop it. But I think that the committee has done a lot of research, and they're gathering their information for the last bit about figuring out where the cards can be sold. Basically, it's just the weekends. You know, and I think if the business is like, well, it is during the summer going to bring business in. If people are going to the store to get a pass, they're going to pick up, oh, let's get some water, let's get some snacks, let's, you know, so maybe that will entice them. But that's to be worked out.
There's something bouncing around in the depths of my mind. There's lots of room to bounce in there today. I seem to remember a conversation, and I don't know, maybe I dreamed it. Maybe somebody can enlighten me a little bit. But at Kennybunk Pond, because the state stocks it, that there was some issue about charging for that. And I don't know. Do I remember that?
You didn't dream it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and there has, Bridget had a conversation with Maine Inland Fisheries and Wildlife, and because they stock it, they want to provide access for fishing at the pond. And for that reason, if somebody were to go buy a pass, even if they were from outside of Lyman, but still within the state of Maine, if they showed their fishing license, we would give them a free pass.
Okay. Imagine that. I'm stunned. It wasn't bouncing around for no reason.
I'm glad you clarified what you were stopped.
We make a motion to approve
Is it time
one
to-
at a time, or we got enough discussion?
And the transfer station has been the same since we asked for the two bidders to relook at their numbers, okay?
Yep.
So that hasn't changed since the last time we were given this. We were just waiting for the Kennebunk Pond.
And I did check with Maine DOT about that rebate that, you know, there was, in the past, there was kicking around this $10,000 rebate, which I don't think ever really existed. I can't find anything on it anyway. There is a $5,000 rebate if we meet their requirements. They're very vague about what the requirements are, and they wouldn't tell me, even looking at the plans, whether we would meet them or not. Basically, what they'll do is at the end, they'll come and inspect and tell you if you meet it. So I couldn't really get a lot of
It's really
guidance
nice.
from them. So right now, it would be a bonus if we got that.
Job done. I guess that's where we're going. We gotta-
Well,
I mean, I think we've discussed
Take it one
this.
at a time.
Yep. And obviously, we're gonna go for a low bid.
Can we ask the committee, since there's majority of them here, what their feelings are about the ADA?
If it's discussion.
What is the committee's feeling like if the select board said, you know, we'll do this, but let's get rid of the ADA access and just keep it like it is now?
We haven't discussed that as a committee.
Please.
Thank you, Karen.
Because we'll just get
We haven't discussed it as a committee, and not all the committee members are here, so I don't feel comfortable answering that question right now. I only have my personal opinion.
Can we just straw poll the members that are here?
Well, one thing that is an issue with the ADA compliance is what happens if there's a fisherman who's in a wheelchair and wants to fish? You can't fish at Bunganut. So that is our lake division, and that would be precluding anyone that has crutches or a wheelchair getting into Kennebunk if they had to. It'd be easier if it was meant for them or a parking spot for them. They're, to be able to go and enjoy the lake and fish. But they're not now.
Huh?
They're not now. No, but I mean, we'll make it easier for them, you know what I mean? Just because they'd have a designated parking spot and on the days
And I
that
don't want
it
it to
is
seem like
full.
I'm like
No, no.
anti-ADA. I'm
No, just if we're,
pro-budget.
but if it's not like
Oh,
20,000 more to do those few things, I
Right.
just, throwing it out there that it's not just, the elderly grandma, there's kids in wheelchairs too.
Yeah.
Could you make contingent any action that you take on this, consulting with town council as to whether or not ADA is applicable? This is, federal law passed back in 1990. And although, Rusty, you mentioned your buildings, we are talking about a public area open to the public, so it might be applicable. So, a contingent on that. And also, it's a long time ago, my apologies, but I do believe there was a program through the state HHS to assist in ADA compliance. Remember, we got a opening door, automatic door for the Waterboro Town Hall through that. And the town didn't have to pay anything for that. So that may be something else to investigate.
I'm interested. I would do these two, vote on each one of them.
All right.
Whatever.
Yep,
I
I'd
don't
like
even know what
to,
you said, so.
a motion,
So you
take a
got-
motion to that transfer station, I guess. That's where we'll start. Pretty much.
I would like to just clear up one more question, sorry. On other, on the best and final, under number 2, you have the landscape bid totals, and then the gate stuff again. And after the gate, automated gate system, it says assumes increase. I'd like to know what that means. Who assumes the increase?
So what that means is the gate company, the person who gave us the quote on the gate did lock it in until, I can't remember when. I want to say end of August or October. Knowing that prices have been going up, we included an extra, I think it was 17,000. We included an extra 3,000 maybe, to assume that there will be some kind of an increase when that quote expires.
Thank you.
So that goes for that.
Mm.
Yep, gotcha.
All right, how do we want to do this?
If you all are really set on doing this and doing the whole thing, how we discussed it, I wouldn't feel comfortable going with anything but the lowest bid.
Agree with that,
Hmm.
yes.
I mean, come on.
So,
Start with the transfer station. Next week.
are we gonna make a motion based on the, like, a wording, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Soon.
All right, I'm gonna just start this out with the transfer station. I make a motion that we award to Dancos Construction based on the updated revised bid from July 23rd, 2023, in the amount of $234,750 to take care of paving, concrete, steel fabrication, and estimated hours fees at the transfer station.
Second that motion.
Sorry.
What's that? Oh, they
Yep.
seconded it, sorry.
It was me,
Yep, gotcha.
over here at this end.
Any discussion? All in favor of approving the transfer station bid for $298,477?
No,
No.
it wasn't what it was. It was
Oh, someone on the backside.
$234,750.
Yeah, right.
234,
I'm like, wait a minute.
750.
No.
It's all right, flip my page over.
I know my motions get a little wordy, but
I'm just gonna turn it over to the right line.
Yeah, right.
All right,
okay.
change that again. Let me rephrase it, just say it again.
Okay.
All in favor of the transfer station bid for $234,750?
All right.
Say aye.
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 Executive. Oh, that's awesome to get that going. Holy.
Yep. They'll be happy up there.
Yeah. All right, so, we move on to the Kennebunk.
Right, I just want to be clear on this.
Yeah, I was
that
looking, make sure that everything.
If we want to go low bid, we have to do one motion for the landscaping and then a different motion regarding the gate and installation, correct? Because that's all direct purchase. Looks like.
That's all the
It's
same.
all included.
All the gate stuff here is all the totals are the same.
Right, but so, and maybe Karen can clarify this, is GT Scapes doing the gate?
No, the gate is,
And that's okay. I just want, what my point is that for the purpose, like we have to choose if we award to Salmon Falls or GT Scapes.
The gate would be a sub.
They'll be doing like the, whatever digging and so forth needs to be done for the wiring.
Yep,
The gate itself will be installed by the gate company.
okay.
Would they be a sub
So you're
through
gonna
the
need a
contractor?
contract for the gate company, I'm sorry.
Would they then be a sub through that contractor? Or would they be a sub through the town?
Through the town.
I guess that's the.
Yeah. So it's a different.
So, yeah, sounds like you're right.
And so I don't want to add another layer, but I'm going to ask the question. Did the gate get bid out or price shopped? Okay. Okay. I think I get it now.
Just for clarification, the gate company did not get bid out. We did research to find gate companies and we only found the one that
Okay.
would do the work in this area.
Okay. Okay, so. I'm just trying to find this number on here. Sorry.
Does this gate run on the internet that we didn't get yet for there?
It was a network requirement.
Yes. So it would be controlled from whoever wants to program it to set the times to open, set the times to close.
I'm just trying to find. Sorry, I'm just trying to make the numbers work. So.
It's eliminating. So what you're looking at, are you including the ADA access?
No, so I was gonna make a motion about this. So there's the parking area and then there's the beach area. Because we have to pick one of these.
Questions?
This is low bid.
Yep.
And it totals here, right? It's this
Jessica?
number
Yeah, yeah.
plus this
I think
number.
she's trying to formulate her.
This stuff is sort of separate, right?
Yep.
Because that's
Yep.
not by this person. That's okay, I get it. So we need a motion for this, but I don't see where it adds up here.
Can I add something to that? I'm not sure which one you're gonna make a motion on, but, so if it's the second column, the 87, GT's at 65,497, which you would award the bid to that amount and then maybe award X amount for the gate, but that does leave you like a $600 deficit or 669. So I would need to know, or the treasurer would need to know, where are you gonna pull that extra money out of? Even though it's only $600, but she would need that clarification. Is it gonna come out of capital improvement?
We still have $462 in the Kennebunk Pond budget
Do
for
we?
the town.
But can
Can I
it
check?
come out of ARPA?
Yes,
my-
because, so you've set aside X amount for transfer station, that's gonna come out of ARPA.
Yep.
If we did, this 87,497, there's not enough ARPA for that. So the
Correct.
treasurer would need to know,
But-
like,
But we haven't got to
That's not
number
even what
3
I'm-
yet, though, item 3. And so if we change
Right.
item 3, that leaves some slush for 2.
yeah,
You with me? You on the same
I think
page?
so.
So you mean, if you cut back the Bunganut
Concession stand.
concession stand
Yes,
work, we could take that 600 and
Yes.
shuffle it over there.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. That makes sense? And to jump over to the concession stand to make a mess of it all, but I think the stairs have to be done. And I think that the breakout's like $3,500. The rest of it is, the door could be a capital item. It could be something later on down the road.
Okay.
Does that make sense? But we can,
The
Yeah,
important
just-
thing is, do you think what you just said makes sense?
it did in my brain.
I think so. I thought it did too. I was just saying.
Okay.
I see, yeah.
Either way, we can either fund it out of capital, the 600, or we can rearrange the concession stand.
Well, that's not, when I came up with 600, that is not including concession stand. So,
The concession stand going with the ADA, we're at 12,000 in the hole. If we keep the concession stand at 1130, yeah, I see the deficit. I see the
234,750
deficit.
plus 87,497 is 322,247, and you only have 321,578 of ARPA. So what I'm doing is I'm only adding the 87,497 plus the 234,750. That means you don't have anything for the concession stand.
Right, because we're
And you
negative.
still got to figure out
the
$669.
Yep,
Yeah.
I got you. Yep.
Sorry,
No,
I'm not
that
trying
makes
to
sense.
complicate
I
it.
followed
but-
all that math.
Yeah, I followed
just
that. It
don't
made
follow
more
the
sense.
math
You
I was
spoke
trying
more
to figure
clearly.
So,
So then you would need like 11,000 for the concession stand out of
Wherever,
capital
or
improvement or
wherever
something.
we,
Yeah.
I think the stairs are a safety issue, but the rest of it, I think is. Okay, so.
Yes and no. I mean, it's deteriorating.
Oh, it
fast.
is. It's got, I think I counted like 25 holes in the building and siding around it. It is, but. All right, so let's keep going with the Kennebunk Pond. If we agree to the ADA, we'll have to come up with $600 more. I guess we'll leave it at that. Anybody want to make a motion for ADA versus no ADA?
Can I just ask a question first? If we do the ADA, submit the paperwork, and get the grant money for it, that obviously comes off the total. Would then that money go back into ARPA that it could be used for part of the concession stands? Or would it have to go somewhere else because it's coming in as a grant?
Depends on when we get the grant money, because I think the ARPA has to be encumbered by the end of December in 2024,
Correct.
which we could probably do.
Mhm.
That's a good question for Jeanette. I would think it would.
Yeah, I just didn't know if like,
I mean,
Yeah,
so
think
we-
That money would offset the other money.
Yeah,
that would-
that's what I would assume.
That
That
5,000, we have to
Common
pay
sense.
for ourselves. So I think the grant money is gonna reimburse whatever we take that out of,
I got
is
it.
my
So it
understanding.
could be year-
okay.
Who knows how far.
If
that
it's still
would
an active.
This,
Okay.
We're making progress.
Well,
this doesn't really
Good question.
make sense to me, this
That
math.
is a good question.
Mhm.
60,000
All
here,
right.
but it's
You want-
65 on the,
I think it's because we're looking without. EDA. So
I make a
Oh,
motion
okay.
that we
Thanks.
award
No, I was doing the same.
$87,497 for the, which is a low bid for the Kennebunk Pond Beach with ADA.
So just to clarify, GT Skates is 65,497.12. The gate is separate. It's a separate company.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's what we were just, yeah.
Sorry.
So
So the 65, right, and then the 20 for the gate.
But back out.
65,497.12.
sounds like one of your motions. 65
This
what?
is why I was not making a motion.
497.
12 cents.
it's the number on this little spreadsheet.
Oh, there it
yeah,
is.
it's right
Okay.
here.
Best and final. And then the other one is for the
22.
2022. All right. Make a motion. Do we accept the bid for GT Scapes on its final bid of $65,497.12?
I'll second that.
All right. Any more discussion?
I just want to clarify that that does include ADA.
Yes, it-
Which includes ADA.
Yep.
That's what the paper says.
92,000 you were gonna give us.
More discussion? All in favor? Okay.
Nay.
Make it official, all in favor? All no's?
Nay. Thank you.
I wrote you down.
I knew you would.
I make a motion that we award the $22,000 to the gate company.
It's under other.
Gate, camera
Yeah.
purchase,
Yep.
installation, and architect oversight for $22,000.
I second that.
Any discussion?
So my discussion is as far as internet, where's that coming from? Where's the network gonna? Do we know that answer?
So we're meeting.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm like,
My
come on, Dad.
exercise.
You're doing well.
We're meeting with the gate company on the 31st, and we decided we would meet with him first to understand really all of the requirements before we tapped into Brendan from the IT committee to bring him into the fold so that we can figure that out because it's, I think, beyond any of us on the committee.
Yeah.
I like the wisdom.
So was that an additional cost? Brandon, and what you're talking about, has that been budgeted this year?
I didn't know there was a cost to run Brendan.
Brendan.
Well, no, it's not Brandon, but to get internet there. Do we,
Well, there is an
we
additional
have-
cost to use Brendan
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we have block time.
we have
so
block time for him. I'm not
it'd be
worried
like
about Brandon.
And that's okay. I guess my
Yeah.
thing is if we get into an instance, like some of the private homeowners that like when you go to pull Spectrum or whoever in, it's a huge cost just based on where they have to pull from. And then there's also, depending on the software, and to your point, you're gonna meet with the gate company and ask that question, but there's likely, like, typically there's some type of an annual service or like a software that you would program cards or program the gate. So I'm okay with like getting that going. I just want us
Yeah,
all to
but
have that
is that-
awareness.
From year to year, probably go under the Kennebunk, under the regular budget for
Mhm.
Kennebunk.
Yeah, I just want us
Yeah.
all to have that awareness. That's all I'm saying. I'm
All
not,
Cool.
discounting the work or discounting the project, just pointing out that there's likely something else that comes along with this.
The camera purchase and installation, where, because if that's going to be fed back to someplace, that would also have required internet, but I think that was already in the works
Correct, yeah.
pre-Kennybunk Pond Committee. So there must be something somewhere. That's why the shack was put in. Yes, that's why the shack was for the camera and for, yeah.
Yeah, I just, like I said, I just brought it up so that we're all on the same page of what else will be
Yeah.
needed, so it's
Yes.
not,
You might be able
it's
to-
not a surprise later, that's all.
Well,
It would be a surprise if they said, hey, it's
once
there.
you meet with them and then we give
That'd
you
be
the
great.
information, you meet with the IT and then you'll.
Yeah, there might be a surprise associated with that at some
The
point.
IT's already, we have
At some
something
point.
coming up in here. The IT's already done some due diligence on finding us some,
For the transfer
For the,
station.
yeah,
Yeah.
for the transfer
but
station.
they're looking at other resources for equipment and stuff. Well, we'll see.
All right, so that's
Discussion.
discussion.
We have the First, second
Oh,
discussion.
Who seconded it?
I
Was it
did.
you? Okay.
Yep.
I didn't write it down. All right, all in favor of the 22,000 for the gate? Yeah. All not in favor?
Nay, I'll be consistent over here.
All right, so this. We got two big projects. That's awesome.
So where do you want the $669 to come out of?
Oh, good question.
Capital improvement.
Yeah,
Motion
that's
or?
my thought. Anybody else have a thought on that? So that's-
A motion for the $600 difference to come out of capital improvement.
Second it.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, ball field.
When,
Oh, yeah, there we go.
when we met at the workshop about this,
Mhm.
these items are what we determined to be the priorities? If I remember correctly?
Yes, for that specific
Okay,
building. Based on safety and maintaining a town asset.
Right.
yeah, well, that's the thing. You gotta take care of what you got.
Man, that back deck is horrible.
Yep.
So we did just spend all the ARPA money and $600, correct?
Correct.
That's what I thought. Okay. So you're in construction, correct? What is the danger in item number 3 if we did not fix the vinyl siding at this time? If we didn't do the work on item 3 right now, what would happen? How would it deteriorate further?
It is made out of OSB. It's not like the green plywood you see nowadays. It's not treated. And I don't see a building wrap on it, to be honest with you, because I see OSB behind the siding. There's holes in the siding.
Mhm.
And OSB, when you get it wet, swells almost instantly. So that's the worst case scenario. It gets wet turn than it already is and swells.
And rods.
It's in rots. The OSB rots fast.
So-
It's wet.
It doesn't say anything in item 3 about wrapping.
It's in the scope.
Is it? I'm sorry, I just was looking at,
The scope's not. See the scope.
I see wrap roof line, trim white metal.
Yeah, and wrap the roof line with trim white metal, but I don't see
Yep.
anything about, the
Wrapping the actual.
wrap underneath, in between the siding and the LSB.
Yep, I have to confirm that. Make sure I carried it. Yep.
Cause that, I mean,
It's not a big expense, it's a tiny building.
it is.
Yep.
And what about if we just went and bought some colored tape that was the same color as the siding and covered the holes? For the moment, that would keep the water out.
It would keep the water out. I mean, I just.
I'm not saying I wanna
it's
do
the
stuff
image.
half-assed, but I'm just saying I'd like to, I was just curious.
The only other thing I want to point out is what, I guess we'll just have to assess it if it happens, but if we pull all that siding off and find more rot, then we're prepared to find,
And we may.
because that is
That's
a very
always,
real
there's always a
possibility.
chance of that though. I mean,
No, I'm just
no matter what.
pointing that out, because to
When's the
your point, it
committee?
happens all the
Surprise.
time.
Another surprise?
I guess I'm just kind of want to.
Why don't what about we table this?
Yep.
And put it under the committee and just put it as part of the project of the Bunganut committee.
Well, because,
Because we don't have the money for it now. And even if the committee takes a look at it and we prioritize it and say, geez, we really need to get to that.
because of the safety issue of the stairs
Yeah,
and
that's my only
that would
concern
be
doing that.
Absolutely.
Soccer
that would be why I would be wanting to move on it now, like even just that one item. But
Yeah. With soccer season starting, if
You're gonna
everyone's
have little
cool, I'm
kids on
gonna. I
Is
think
it-
they're blocked, but at the same time, it worries me. All right, I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. I make a motion that we award item 1 to repair and to remove and replace existing exterior stairs and railings to the second floor on the Bunganut concession stand to BD Carpentry for $3,500.
I second that.
Hold on. Funded out of capital improvements.
Thank you. I would have
That's the weird
seconded that.
thing. Look at your high bid, look at what their number, item one is.
No, don't say it. Darn it. Okay. Well, then, I apologize. I thought that I got confused. I rescinded my motion.
You can do it the other way though. You know, like we're doing it.
I just don't want anyone getting hurt over there. There's gonna be a lot of children there.
I agree 1,000%, 100%.
No, I know you are. I just got confused now. I
And
apologize.
if I didn't look ahead and notice that.
Yeah, right. And then that would have been, so thank you. All right, so I'm gonna go backwards in time. I am going to make a motion that we award the bid to remove and replace existing exterior stairs and railings to the second floor of the Bunganut Ball Field concession stand to KCB Landscaping for $3,300, funded out of capital improvement funds.
Okay, so like, is there a second to that?
Second.
Well, he's also got a disposal fee, and I'm sure there's gonna be, some of that was to get rid of the stairs and stuff, which is gonna bring it up to
Okay.
probably at least the same amount, if not more, than the original.
Okay. Here's what I'm actually going to do. I'm going to rescind that motion as well. Lindsay, could you please help us go back to these two individuals for a price specific to item 1 only? Okay. Is everybody okay with that?
I think that's,
probably the
yeah.
best route.
I'm not going to try again.
So
saying,
we have no
No, you're
motion
right.
on the floor, correct?
Correct.
So somebody wants to say something.
Fair.
I just have a question.
Oh,
So if you do the stairs and the railing, are those gonna have to come off when you go to redo the building? I haven't seen that part of
They
it.
are not attached, there's not the stringer's not attached to the
It's
building
off.
all the way out.
Okay,
The only thing that's attached is where it attaches under the front, under the door.
okay.
So, and that ledge would stay.
That would stay, so when
So
they have to
you-
rip them down
you
if they
should
did a
be able to do
redo,
it.
that's all it was just a thought, because I was thinking about.
Okay, I'm done.
Are you?
All right.
I think so.
Okay.
I don't even know.
Embarrassed myself.
You're on the code of ethics.
Fine.
Are we?
It's your,
Next one is,
I'm still on 5 then.
All right.
you're not a machine.
There we go. All right, moving on. We're going to item number 5, item B. Review and approve code of ethics. I think Mickey had questions last time, wasn't it? Or just it didn't go over yet?
I hadn't read it at that time and I thought it was a lot to absorb in
It is a lot.
10 minutes, you know, so.
Fair.
Having reviewed it, I really don't have an issue with it.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve the code of ethics.
Second.
All right. Any discussion? All in favor?
I,
Aye.
sweet.
by Jove, we've done it.
All right. Moving on, item 6. We get too mixed up here. Road commissioner's not here, fire chief's not here.
Sorry, can I just pause for a second? Road commissioner's not here, but I will say I drive around Lyman an awful lot in summer to bring my kids places. And Williams Road, and I think there was a section of Day Road maybe, some ditching going on, like just a lot of very visible, awesome work. So just shout out there.
Go Tom.
I think it's Davey that does the potholes, I'm not sure, but it's like, every time I think I got one to be able to say something to somebody, the next time I go, it's the fault. So they do a great job filling the holes too.
I will
So,
say,
Clark Swin's Road's full of them.
our roads are not bad considering when I was driving around Newfield, Shapley, Leamington area yesterday and almost launched myself off the side of a hill because of the road, it was all glorified goat path and feeling on the motorcycle. And I thought, I love Lyman.
Yeah, that's good.
Have you ever launched a street glide, Rusty?
No. Wow.
You want to?
No.
I'll take you for a ride over there.
No. I'd be holding on so tight, kid. Woo. All right, where are we? We did CEO, tax clerk, treasurer. We got the treasurer expense report in here for 8/17/23. That's a lot of reading.
Yep.
The town manager. Do you want to add? Oh, no, it's town manager.
Oh, sorry, didn't see it.
No.
Didn't-
IT committee memorandum, letter of recommendation.
Do you have any questions on it? 'Cause I have some things.
Oh, what, the IT?
Yeah, I know that there's some mention in here of like ARPA funds, and obviously we've kind of expended those. There was mention that the town, utilizing the town's contracted IT services, and we budget that for the town hall. So that's for like, we have systems that go down all the time. Like today, we had an issue with Trio, and those things we need to be able to contact Brendan. That's what we use our block time for,
Yeah.
so we can get him on that to fix it. I just don't want to use up that block time for something like this, and then the employees, don't have that budgeted at the end of the year. So I would just consider that, because I think we would need to get a quote from Brendan on how much is that going to cost, or, if he felt like it was only going to take him an hour, he might say, nah, it's just going to be an hour. We'll take it out of block time. That's not a big deal. But if it was a bigger project, I just don't want it to cut into our block time. We do use that quite often.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, that
Absolutely.
makes perfect sense.
And then the Ubiquity, I did look into that. We have an account with them, but not like, I don't know if we get wholesale prices. I mean, we would have to just price out how many cameras we want and all that stuff. So one thing that did come to me though was MMA Risk Management has a grant for like $3,000 for safety stuff like this, like cameras. So I'm hoping to get a quote on what cameras would cost and, maybe what it would take to, get some wiring up there. And as long as it's under 3,000, we could apply for the grant. So it may even be, even if the cameras cost 3,000, then maybe that grant just gets applied to that and we can figure out the other stuff later.
For sure.
Mm.
Okay, more to come on that.
So do we have to take any action on this?
Yeah, do we need?
Well, there's a lot of unanswered things. Like
Yeah,
we would
yeah.
have to figure out what this is going to cost. We don't have, well, we kind of don't have access to an electrician. Like if it's going to be over 5,000, we'd have to get quotes and all that. So we'd
I
have to
need
do all
more.
the groundwork and try to figure out where this would land in terms of
I
money.
need more detail.
Yeah.
They reviewed 4 electrical RFPs.
Yeah, we did an RFP for the transfer station for the ARPA funds, and some of them came back at like $30,000, but that was for an electrician to go in there and do like the paneling, the wiring. That was for lights and cameras. This, I think they're referencing just cameras and wiring for the cameras. So this is separate from the lights.
And I think the point is unfortunately there is no ARPA funding for that.
Right.
So I feel I needed more information before I could do
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
So
And is it a matter of
Then we
going,
need internet for that too.
And that's another thing. I don't know. I don't
I think they
know
have
if there
it
is
up there.
internet up there.
I believe they do. So
Yeah,
it's mentioned
yeah.
there
They do.
about
It
Okay.
a
says
router
do.
that was covered in dust
Yeah.
and
Oh, okay.
something.
the 2 wireless cameras in the utility shed were not connected. Wireless router was dirty and covered in dust.
That's an understatement.
When we do all these things and we spend this money and we put in cameras and internet and all this stuff, does it save us anything in insurance costs or is there, I mean,
Well, we'll get that grant for 3,000.
yeah, but I mean, what's the benefit?
well, it
I-
could. I mean, if somebody was hurt there and they blame the transfer, they blame the town, but then you have the video that shows, well, clearly
It's a
you.
liability.
How
you
much of
did
that stuff gets saved? How long does it get saved for? I don't know any of this. I'm not asking these to be a smart.
So like
Yeah,
the
it would
cameras
depend.
here, for example, like that all goes to a cloud. So we would always be backing that up all the time.
For
If we
how
want-
long?
For as long as we want to. We can
Okay.
back it up forever.
Wonder if you
same-
got my wardrobe malfunction last week. I forgot those things were out there. I was making some adjustments and I forgot. And I was in the hallway and I was like, oh, I looked up and there it was.
If
I was
I
like,
recall, I think it came
It's in the
up-
cloud. Cool.
It's in the cloud.
It's the only place there's not gravity. That's all I'm gonna say.
Is that-
I'll stop.
Okay. And then I also believe it came up originally when like there was a break-in, there was vandalism over there, or there was a break-in of something
Yeah.
years ago. So I think that's why the question of cameras came in to focus to begin with.
Mhm. Insurance companies love it because it's a
Yeah.
liability, reduction in liability.
Yeah, I mean, is there the possibility that you might save money with your insurance if
Exactly.
you?
That's what
you
I'm
know?
asking,
So,
right?
yeah, I mean, that's
Possibility.
definitely, that would be worth checking into too.
All right, new business.
Yep. Review approved warrant for September 11th, 2023 special town meeting.
So.
I make a motion to approve the warrant for September 11th, 2023 special town meeting.
Second it.
Any discussion?
I just have one question. I remember a while back when you became the registrar?
Mhm.
And this lines up with your hours that you're gonna be here that day?
Mhm.
Okay, perfect.
All in favor?
Aye.
Citizens petition for warrant article, determine article wording, schedule public hearing.
So here I go again, but I make a motion that that the board approves the proposed article language from the citizens petition.
Second that.
Any discussion?
Has the wording been run by the town attorney? Does he have to have the final?
No, he doesn't have to have
He
the
doesn't?
final
Okay.
say. It has been put to the town attorney. It's just the only reason that's in there is because it does say in Charter 2.2.2 that, you know, in cases of citizens referendum, the board can alter the language if you want to. It doesn't mean you have to. So I mean, you can leave the wording as it is. That's what was proposed.
I just don't see any reason to change it.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Do we have to?
Do we want to call the public hearing date?
That's all we have to do too, right? Let's see. The timeline's on the second page.
Is there, could we do it the same day as the public hearing for? We're not having a public
So
hearing for
I
that.
gave a timeline, and in the charter, it says you have 30 days from the filing of the petition. So the petition was filed on August 7th. So your final deadline for a public hearing would be September 6th, which is a Wednesday. And then you'll have your regular meeting on Tuesday the 5th because the 4th is Labor Day. So I would recommend you do the public hearing on September 5th, which is your next meeting. And that's just for the proposed language and do your public hearing.
So we could do that before the meeting?
Yeah, like sometimes we do it right at 6 p.m., public hearing, and then you go into your regular meeting after it's all done.
And to
You
that
wanna do
point,
that,
it's
or
a
do you want to
Tuesday.
do it early? Or,
It's a Tuesday, right? The
Yes.
5th. Okay.
I'm okay with the 5th, the 4th, the 5th, yeah, the 5th.
yep. Makes sense to me.
Yep. Just do it at 6 o'clock. Yep. Good. Okay. Public hearing, 6 o'clock, September 5th. Any discussion? Oh, we need more.
Oh.
Yes, it's a Tuesday because Monday is the holiday, Labor Day.
I make a motion that we hold the public hearing on September 5th at 6 p.m. before our regularly scheduled meeting.
Second that.
Any discussion?
I just want to note I'm coming back around in my motions this evening.
Yeah, you are. Nice. All in favor?
Aye. Good job, Jeff.
Took a little bit of effort. Here we are.
Put that one in the win column.
And then, I don't know if you want to get too far ahead of yourself, but 30 days from the public hearing, you'll have to hold the special town meeting. I think the deadline for that's like October 4th, which is
Yeah.
a Wednesday, so it falls on a planning board meeting. Or you could do it October 3rd. If you want to just get that
Are
out of
you
the
able
way.
to check? Because to Joe's point, I think it probably makes sense to have a larger space. Are you able to?
So that's going to might be complicated. Usually when
Yeah.
we schedule with the Lyman Elementary School, like they're booked out a lot. So if they have something else going on, I can't
Yeah.
schedule it there.
Would you be able to check with them and see
We
what they have?
had one once and we had this room so packed that we had people outside the windows. We had the windows open. And there was 2 or 3 people standing in the shrubs at the windows.
Okay.
And
You have fire station.
the select board failed miserably that day.
You have a
Why?
fire station.
I'd rather not fail.
Huh? You want to have it at the fire
We've
station?
had them, we've had
Oh,
them at the
really?
fire station before also.
I mean, I can check with Lyman Elementary. It
Yeah,
usually,
beginning of school year, I would find it hard to believe that there's gonna be a lot of openings, but
I
they
don't,
do, they have, I guess they have a lot of stuff going on because I've tried to schedule it for when we did our January one earlier
what,
this year.
what's the capacity for this room?
80, right?
I don't think we need the school, honestly. I think you're gonna have a lot of interest, but I don't. How many people were at the town meeting? Almost that many, or a little few more than that, but not, I mean, I don't know the actual number. I didn't count everybody.
About 80 or so.
But,
you can count everybody.
It's up to you guys. I mean, we can wait too if you want to. Totally up to you.
maybe we do it on the 3rd.
I think for me, the biggest thing would be the cost of the school.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know what we would pay for the use of
We
it.
have to like cart stuff over there,
But
move it.
yeah,
get a
and then you
U-Haul.
have to pay for the janitor
Yeah.
to,
I apologize, I didn't realize that we paid.
we have to pay to,
Well, if we did it on the 3rd, then the planning board could still have their meeting.
Mhm.
That's a Tuesday. Is this room available that day?
Yeah.
That night? I mean, I don't know what time we would do it either. But we want some participation, so I would imagine 6 o'clock would
yeah,
work.
6 o'clock.
6 or 7.
Can we do 7? I'm just gonna throw this out. I know, everyone can give me the weird face.
No, I'm just,
That's
the
what time
same
we go
night
to
as the
bed.
planning board?
No.
No,
Oh, no,
October
I-
3rd.
The night before the planning board.
I
meeting,
only
so
say that
Tuesday
because
night.
by the time a lot of people, if you get out of work at 5 in Portland and then you try to, as a parent, you're trying to get your kids from somewhere and at least get them home and maybe, I don't know, attempts to eat dinner. I don't know. It should be a pretty, I mean, even if there was a ton of discussion, I feel like it'd be a pretty straight to the point thing. I just-
6:30, yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine with 6. 6 is tight for some people.
I agree.
Yeah, I'll meet in the middle on 6:30. You'll join on or
I'll go to bed at 7. But that's okay.
7:20?
Yeah, don't you know I'm asleep right now?
Okay. I make a motion that we hold the special town meeting on October 3rd at 7 PM.
Second.
Any discussion? I'm all in favor. All in favor?
Aye.
You know?
No, I said no.
Oh, it's.
Look at that.
Sorry. All right, hold harmless for Smash, request for waiver of certain items.
Yeah.
Smash is Southern Maine Athletic Sports Haven. That is homeschooled children that, if I understand it correctly, do their athletic portion of it. Hopefully, they're hoping to use Bun Outfit.
Okay.
So they wanted waivers on things like workers' compensation because they don't have stuff like that.
Yep.
They already gave us their certificate of liability and that they would sign this form that they're not gonna hold the town harmless if anybody gets injured over there.
And their participants are signing a waiver. Do we know that?
I don't know that for sure.
Or they're saying that they're not going to?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just don't want to do like, okay.
So anything that's crossed off of here is what we're gonna waive?
Mhm.
I make a motion that we waive A, C, Article 4, general, and Article 5, warranty, and the contractor, subcontractor warrants his work as follows, and Article 6, payment for Smash to be able to do their thing on the soccer field.
I second that.
on the contractor, subcontractor agreement.
I second that. It's all related to if they were performing work and they're not.
Yeah.
It's really
Any
just
other
a
discussion? All in favor?
Aye. How's my game, Jess?
rolling. Someone was sleeping. You wonder.
All right, next is review committee applicant, comprehensive plan committee. We have one applicant, Peggy McDonald.
Make a motion, we accept her application.
Second it.
Any more discussion or any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, next up is appoint land use.
I think it's just the opposite order of the agenda versus in the packet. It's fine.
Appoint land use director, Brenda, our CEO. This is part of her job description, and she's requested the board appoint her as land use director. Yeah.
They're just reversed in our.
That was my confusion.
I make a motion that we appoint Brenda Charland as land use director.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, if it's part of her job description, why has she requested that the board appoint her as land use director? If it's part of her job description and that's her job.
That's my feelings, honestly, but some people, you know, they like their titles.
Okay, I'm just curious, there's no reason not to either then.
Correct.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
If that's what she wants.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right. Appoint ballot clerks for September 11th, 2023 special town meeting. Just do them all at once.
Well, I gotta abstain, so. Can we do it this way?
Look at you.
I'm gonna make a motion that we appoint Leela Roy, Barbara Hull, Katrina Randall, and Irene Sinkel as ballot clerks for the September 11th, 2023 special town meeting. That way we can do those all in one.
I second that.
Okay. Amber seconds. Any discussion?
I'm wondering, usually the town clerk chooses ballot clerks and it's not brought before the select board, is it? Seems a little,
You guys have to
It's
appoint
always-
them.
Yeah.
you've done this before?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
because we never did that once upon a time.
We sign them.
All these things that are different. I like it. Thank you.
So all in favor for the voting for on the list?
Aye.
As okay. All right, so I'm gonna nominate, I'm gonna make a motion to nominate Amber Sweat and Jessica Picard as ballot clerks. Need a second from one of you two.
I second.
All right.
I'm gonna abstain from this vote.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Maybe I
abstain
should
as well.
Oh, we have to have,
So You still got 3 if you.
Yep.
I
Any
could
more
really-
discussion?
I could really mess this up right now. I really
You could
could.
really mess up my vacation.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I'll give it to you. Just remember that.
You were gonna volunteer? Is that what you were
Go for it.
saying? You were gonna come and spend the 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. with the,
I usually come down for that.
What's up with that?
Yeah, yep.
Okay. Appoint administrative clerk.
I don't have anything. Do you have?
That's
So-
G.
So there was
I
the
don't-
email about that one, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I
And if
didn't-
you guys, you know, because it's still confidential, if you want to go into executive session, I can talk to you about the person or whatever you're comfortable with.
So we don't have anything in here
I didn't-
that
yeah, I
I'm
didn't-
hunting through this
Oh.
packet for?
No.
Thank you.
I don't think it's hard.
What's your feelings on this?
I'm fine either way. I feel comfortable with what I read in the email, but if others feel like we should discuss.
I'm
okay.
I didn't read the email because I still can't get into my computer, but I have a new password now that may or may not work, but, so I'm a little bit out of the loop.
The email was,
You wanna mo-
I guess to summarize it, oh, sorry.
I'm just saying, if you want to make that motion,
Oh.
then we can do that and discuss it.
If it's,
Feel
if
better
it's
about it.
confidential at this point, then I would feel better to make a motion to go into executive session under the IMSRA 405A for discussion regarding the personnel matters to talk about the administrative clerk position.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I do have a discussion. I don't care to discuss any other item except for that. That's it. Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.